Never has the phrase, "you know what you're getting," been more applicable than The Fast and the Furious, a seemingly unstoppable action juggernaut that's become the very definition of the summer popcorn flick. It's kind of easy to forget now, but the series started out 20 years ago as a fairly restrained and grounded action thriller about an FBI agent infiltrating the world of illegal street racing. Its surprise success spawned a string of sequels, none of which managed to recapture the magic of the first movie, and by the time Tokyo Drift came out, it was pretty obvious the films had outgrown their premise, not to mention the original cast. Furious 5 switched things up a gear and successfully revitalised the franchise, utilising the star power of The Rock and establishing the winning formula that would go on to become the standard template from now on. Convoluted heist plots, international espionage, exotic locations, implausible action sequences, big ensemble casts, cartoonish fight scenes, big sweaty bald men competing to be the biggest and sweatiest bald man, and of course...
Family.
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 Family. Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family. Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
It was like Mission Impossible crossed with the Dukes of Hazzard and a heavy dose of daytime soap opera. It wasn't exactly deep and thought-provoking, but fuck it, it was fun to watch. These movies knew exactly what they were and what you wanted from them, kind of like a female Twitch streamer, and they were happy to dish it out by the truckloads. They were fun, action-packed and deliberately over the top, each one somehow finding a way to surpass its predecessor. The series peaked with Furious 7, which provided a surprisingly poignant and tasteful goodbye to Paul Walker, while the sequel proved that the franchise still had enough momentum to move forward without its protagonist. Unfortunately, problems were brewing. Clashing egos and personalities meant the departure of Jason Statham and The Rock, two of the franchise's biggest assets, and after recycling the same basic story for almost a decade, the winning formula was starting to wear a little thin. After going basically everywhere and blowing up pretty much everything there was to blow up, where the hell could the franchise possibly go next? Outer space? Oh. Which brings me at last to F9, the latest installment of the long-running franchise. A movie that reliably includes all the things you expect from The Fast and the Furious. The implausible action scenes, the globetrotting storyline, the manly bravado, the family dramas, and a few unexpected guest appearances. It does all the things that are expected of it, and yet it's the first Fast and the Furious movie in almost a decade that left me feeling kind of... underwhelmed. The movie picks up with Dom and Letty living in happy retirement with their young kids. I guess we'll overlook the fact that this is actually the son of another woman who got conveniently killed off in the previous movie. Anyway, before you can say get the plot moving, the rest of the gang show up with news that Charlize Theron has been captured by Kurt Russell. But oh no, his plane got shot down en route to the US, and now they're both missing. And who should be responsible for this dastardly plot than Jacob, Dom's long-lost brother? And I mean really fucking long lost. Like the guy's never mentioned him even once in the past 20 years. It's almost like he was retconned into Dom's backstory for the sake of this film, but whatever. A series of flashbacks reveal that Jacob was part of a botched plan to sabotage their father's car so that he could throw a race, ultimately causing his death and sending Dom on a violent revenge trip that got him thrown into jail. This realization drove a wedge between the two young men, and they haven't seen or spoken to each other until now. Anyway, Jacob's after a device known as Ares, a computer program that can seize control of any weapons system on the face of the Earth. It was designed decades ago, but I guess they decided it was too dangerous or something, so the device got split into two parts and hidden away. Because, you know, why destroy it when you can maintain it as a persistent threat that has to be protected until the end of time?
Not a great plan.
So basically, the gang have to come together one more time to stop a bad guy with a personal grudge against Dom from getting his hands on a magical bullshit device that could destroy the world. And if this all sounds a bit familiar, it's because it's the same basic premise that's been used in every movie since part 5. The difference now is that it's all starting to feel a little bit tired and played out. Like they've given up on even trying new ideas and just stuck with the formula that's worked so well until now. Also, a lot of the creative decisions in this film are so bonkers and pointless cars that I can best explain them away as, fuck it, why not? Strapping a giant rocket pack onto a car and launching it into outer space so it can crash into a satellite? Fuck it, why not? Bringing Han back to life by retconning his death for a second time, only for him to do practically nothing for the rest of the movie? Fuck it, why not? Seriously, it's almost a meme how obsessed this series is with a character who died in Tokyo Drift more than a decade ago. The two halves of the Ares device are biometrically coded so they can only be activated by the girl who's the key to everything? Fuck it, why not? Driving around in cars fitted with giant magnets that allow them to throw other vehicles around like toys without dislodging the vehicle they're mounted on? Fuck it, why not? Cardi B is a SWAT team leader? Fuck it, why not? Honestly, the writer's room for this movie must have been absolutely wild, man. Of course, none of this really matters in the great scheme of things, because let's be honest, nobody goes into a Fast and the Furious movie expecting tight, well-constructed storylines. These movies stand or fall based on the energy, panache, and creative flair of their execution, and I think this is where the real problem with F9 lies. None of it feels particularly exciting or interesting anymore. There's a creeping sense that we've seen it all before because, well, we have. And when you see the same thing too many times, no matter how fun it started out, it eventually starts to lose its appeal. And I've got a sneaking suspicion that the actors are starting to feel the same way. The thing that elevated the previous movies was the sense of fun and camaraderie. You really felt like the actors were enjoying this stuff, and it seeped through into every aspect of the movie. But I don't know, man, it kind of feels like that spark's missing here. Like everyone's just going through the motions, repeating the same gags and character beats they've been doing for years, because that's what's expected of them. Michelle Rodriguez looks bored and uncomfortable. Charlize Theron faxies in the kind of vaguely menacing performance she could do in her sleep. And even the mighty Vin Diesel looks kind of subdued and low energy now. I don't know what went on behind the scenes with this one, but everyone's got the uncomfortable look of a bickering couple trying to put on a brave face in front of their friends. The loss of Jason Statham and especially The Rock was another big blow to the enjoyment factor. I don't think it's a coincidence that his introduction marked a turning point in the franchise's fortunes, injecting some much needed likability and charisma where Vin Diesel was sorely lacking. John Cena might be trying to make the same transition from wrestling into acting, but he's got nowhere near the star power or the screen presence needed to hold up a movie like this. Now it very much feels like we're playing with the B team that they managed to scrape together for this film, and it seems like they know it too. Now, all of this stuff probably makes me sound like a miserable asshole who needs to just enjoy the movie for what it is. The problem is that what it is isn't as good as what it was, and if I had to pin it down, I'd say these movies have become kind of a victim of their own success, constantly trying to outdo themselves to the point where they've basically exhausted all possible options. The formula that worked so well to turn a stale franchise into a box office juggernaut has reached its logical limitations now, and it feels like a series that's run out of ideas and creative energy, coasting on past success rather than trying anything new or interesting. It's certainly not terrible, and there's definitely still entertainment to be had here if you go in with low expectations. And if nothing else, I'll give it props for avoiding the kind of preaching and pandering that's become synonymous with modern Hollywood, basically signalling the death of fun. There's absolutely zero political agenda with F9, which is exactly as it should be, and to be honest, it's kind of telling that I have to point that out as a positive in a movie these days. But overall, Fast and the Furious feels like a franchise that's stuck in a rut and really needs to change things up again to stay interesting. By all accounts, the 10th installment is going to be the big finale that caps off everything anyway, and as much as I'll be sad when it's all over, F9 kind of proves to me that it's probably the right time to wrap this up. Speaking of which, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.